world, and the world hears them. You see, sometimes one of the marks of a true prophet is many times people don't want to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're offending their flesh.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get the false prophet, or you get that wrong spirit, or false spirit operating, it kind of pacifies and smooths and we're all wonderful. We're sweet, we're beautiful, it's okay. And everybody says, that's got a nice word, I'm feeling very nice. You walk out the door and the Holy Spirit just hits you wham and says, hey, come on, what's going on here? You just stroked your ego, and I've seen it so many times. People living in sin and doing all sorts of stuff, and their ego's been stroked. It's another spirit. It's not the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them. We're of God. He who knows God hears us, and he who is not of God does not hear us. By this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Remember I said before that the Spirit of God always seeks to glorify in whatever ministry, not just with prophets, right? False prophets, true prophets, so apostles, evangelists, pastors, teachers, it doesn't matter what the ministry. The Spirit of God always seeks to glorify, not the man, seeks to glorify Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Seeks to glorify the Father.
Amen.
Seeks to lift up the name of the Lord. Remember Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Not draw all men unto the prophet. Not draw all men unto the gift. Revelation 19:10 says that the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Okay? The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Revelation 19:10 says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. But he said to me, see that you do not do that. I am your fellow servant, and I have your brethren who have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God. Mm-hmm. For the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. 1 Corinthians 14:32 says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Many times you'll find that which is false doesn't want to be subject to anybody or anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're like what you call Lone Rangers. Hi-ho silver. An old movie they used to be on TV years ago. The purpose of the gift of prophecy is edification, exhortation and comfort. I mentioned that before. 1 Corinthians 14:3. But he who prophesies speaks edification, exhortation and comfort to men. Now let me just point out a couple of things. What is true and what is false can be discerned and measured in two areas. Okay? One is character. I'll prove it in a minute by something that Paul says to Timothy. And two is doctrine. Okay? When we talk about character, we're also talking about lifestyle, we're talking about relationships. When we talk about doctrine, we're talking about message and application of the word. So in those two areas, you can test to see if what is standing in front of you is true or false. You know? Now here it is, 1 Timothy 4:16. Paul speaking to Timothy. He says this, he says, take heed to yourself. That's your character, that's your lifestyle, that's your relationships. Take heed, pay attention to yourself. Look at yourself. Open this up and look inside your heart, look inside your chest. Examine yourself. I think you mentioned it last Sunday, Prophet. You mentioned it. Examine. Take heed to yourself, he says, and to the doctrine. And then he goes on to say something very important. He says, continue in them. For in doing this, you will save both yourself and those who hear you.
Amen.
Yeah? And that doesn't just apply to prophets, that applies to pastors, that applies to elders, that applies to teachers, that applies to prophets, evangelists, apostles, right across the board. What he's saying here, this is an instruction that Paul's giving to Timothy. 1 Timothy 4, verse 1 says this, let me read it. Now, the Spirit expressly says that in latter times, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. Doctrines of demons. Oh, well, yeah, it's okay. Homosexual marriage is fine. We'll have that in the church. That's the loving thing to do. 2 men can marry, 2 women can marry, because the world says it's okay. The government made the rules, they made the laws. Fine, let's have that in the church. There are pastors today embracing that. I don't care what you want to call it. I call it doctrine of demons. That's coming to the church. It's become a doctrine. It's become something being taught. A doctrine is a teaching. And it's based on love doctrine, love teaching, love gospel. Is there love in the gospel? Of course. Jesus showed it when he stretched out his arm and he hung on the cross and he died. That's the love of Christ, sacrificial love,
Amen.
agape love.